Good morning, everybody! Welcome to another edition of Jake and Justin in the morning. Hope you are doing well. No guests today as we are doing a football special. But hi, Justin.
Hi, Jake.
Justin, what did you have for break?
I had a bit of a niche pick. I had a sandwich. I had a cold cut sandwich. I got my classic I ordered from Boost. I got a ham, provolone, turkey bacon, lettuce, oil, and vinegar, with some chips and a pickle. It's a pretty good breakfast.
Yeah. I had some multigrain Cheerios.
Oh boy, that's a new one right there. Wow. Anyway, though, we got a great show for you today. As Jake has mentioned, it is a football special. So let's get started with some football. We're first going to talk about what's kind of on the headlines right now is Tom Brady, 22 years in the league, 44 years old, has finally retired. He packed it up. He gave his thank you on Instagram and Twitter and all that. 7 Super Bowl rings, almost every record broken out there. Uh, you know, not, we've had our fair share of ripping on Brady on this show, but I think we can both agree that we will miss him greatly, and we'll see him on the stage in Canton, Ohio.
Absolutely, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. 22 seasons, 44 years old, 7-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time Super Bowl MVP, all-time leader in passing touchdowns, and many other records. All-time great for sure. What an incredible story. 6th-round draft pick by the Patriots. What was it? Year 2000. Everyone knows the famous combine picture. Him at the combine. He looks. Very out of shape. He ran 40 times over 5. He ran slower than some offensive defensive linemen at the combine. He was he came to New England. He was the number 2 guy at first. Drew Bledsoe, who was a very good quarterback in the NFL for the Patriots, got injured. In came his no-name Tom Brady, and the rest is history. And of course, he ended up finishing his career with the Bucs. And I was never a fan of them, especially as a Jet fan, but what a career he had.
So, I guess I really have to ask this question now, because I'm going to start asking it before Stephen A asks it, or before anyone on ESPN gets a chance to. Who does the torch go to next? Because I think Tom Brady has solidified himself as what can be argued as the greatest of all time by many people. So who's getting the torch passed over?
There's probably 3 or 4 guys who I think is Matt. By the way, look at all the quarterbacks that have retired the last 2 years. This is about 5-6 years ago. Peyton Manning retired. You had Eli Manning retired about 2 or 3 years ago, and in the last 2 years, Philip Rivers has retired. Drew Brees has retired. Ben Roethlisberger has retired. Now Tom Brady has retired, and the only veteran really old quarterback who arguably is going to the Hall of Fame one day. This guy was definitely going to the Hall of Fame one day. Is Aaron Rodgers, who we think will play next year, but I don't think it's 1,000% certain with him as well. So definitely pretty much all the very young league when it comes to quarterbacks now. For me, the big 4 guys right now who I think are going to really take over the league now are Patrick Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs, Justin Herbert for the Los Angeles Chargers, Joe Burrow for Cincinnati Bengals, and Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills. So I think those 4 guys are going to really take over the league. By the way, all 4 are in the AFC and 2 are in the same division. Think about that. Who gets the torch next? I think all 4 could have all-time great careers, but I am going to go with Patrick Mahomes. from the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, the guy is literally a video game out there. He's absolutely incredible. He's only played 4 or 5 years. He's already a league MVP, a Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, 3 AFC championships, and the guy is absolutely amazing. That's who I think the torch is going to be passed to.
When we talk about these, the 4 that you mentioned, I absolutely agree with all 4 of them. But I think, I mean, I can definitely see Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes already in his 5th year in the league has already solidified himself as a Hall of Famer. I think he's already on the cusp of going into the Hall of Fame. But I think, which we'll talk about later in the show, if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, I think that kind of sets up Joe Burrow. Because the man, as we all know, has never lost a must-win game. He's got ice in his veins. I know it's a basketball term. We could say it in football just as much. I mean, this guy can really do it all. He is some kind of magician on that field, almost like a Mahomes. But I think after a few years, if you give this guy an O-line, I think he'll just be able to shine a lot more. Anyway, let's not talk too much about the Bengals because we need to move on to our next topic. The Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll has just been hired as the head coach of the New York Giants. So I'm pissed because I didn't want the Giants to get anybody good. But Jake, what do you think?
I'm also a fellow Jet fan, so obviously I'm not rooting for the Giants, but I think that was definitely a great hire by the New York Giants. The Giants have become a complete dumpster fire. I mean, since they won the Super Bowl in, I believe, 2011, I think it was the second time they beat Tom Brady and the mighty Patriots in a 4 or 5 year span. They have missed over the last, I believe, 10 seasons. They have missed the playoffs 9 out of the last 10 seasons. And each of the they have never had a winning record at any point of any season. Each of the last 5 seasons, they've had 5 different head coaches. They've had a couple different GMs. It's just been an absolute train wreck. Just zero playoff wins since they won the Super Bowl. It's been a train wreck ever since Tom. You had Tom Coughlin, who was let go by the Giants. They parted ways after whatever it was, 2015, whatever year it was that they decided to move on. They promoted Ben McAdoo first year, who was able to get into the playoffs. His second year was one of the worst coaching jobs I have ever seen. This is the guy who went up to the podium after a 51-17 loss, and they asked him, "What did you say to your team?" He goes, and then say it. Dude, say something. Anyway, he was out. He didn't even last 2 years. Then they went out and hired a guy who had 9 career wins in 2 years as a head coach, and Pat Shurmur, who was terrible. He was only there 2 years. Then they went out and hired a special teams coordinator from a terrible coaching tree and Bill Belichick and Joe Judge, who was an absolute clown show. The guy walked up thinking he's this really super tough guy. Meanwhile, he's the biggest fake I've ever seen. Guy called a QB sneak on 3rd and 9 from his own 5-yard line. You got rid of him. You finally got rid of Dave Gettleman, probably the worst GM in all football. Probably 3 years too late. But it looks like they are trending in the right direction. They brought in a couple guys from the Bills who have had a lot of success in the last few years. They brought in the Bills assistant GM Joe Schoen. They brought in their Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll, who's been one of the top head coaching candidates over the last few years now. I think it was a great hire. I think the GM hire is very good as well. Giants got a lot of work to do. They got to decide, is Daniel Jones the right quarterback? Do we give him one more chance? Do we move on? If we move on, do we make a trade? Do we sign a guy? Do we draft a guy? What happened to Saquon Barkley? how he fixes the O-line, what happens on defense. Do we need to add some pieces over there? So a lot of work needs to be done with the New York Giants, but I think it's a step in the right direction finally for John Mara and Steve Tisham and the New York Giants.
Yeah, so at the off season, I personally, the interesting, I'm a Jet fan, but I'll still root for the Giants. At the end of the season, John Mara did a press conference to where he basically said, "This is on me," and I really have respected him for that. I thought that was really respectable, and I think he's trying to do better by picking up, Schoen, and then end up getting Dable out of this, which I think are big pickups because these are the Bills we're talking about. This is not some small team, and the Bills' offensive coordinator, who we know kind of helped coach, kind of involved in the coaching staff with people like Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, all Singletary, all those guys. It could be really, really good for the Giants. But as you said with Daniel Jones, here's my take on it. You could probably argue Daniel Jones' lack of skill over Joe Judge, just just being really bad at football. But if he does not perform, I think they give him another chance. But if he does not perform this season, I want the Giants to not look at Dable. I want them to look at Daniel Jones, because here's something like okay, we might give you a pass because Joe Judge is an idiot, but now you have a really, really good offensive coordinator who could be a very good coach, good my head coach. And you're still bad, like, what's the excuse? Because it's not his fault, it's not your fault. It's my same argument with Adam Gase, with Sam Darnold. It's like Sam Darnold stunk, and people said, oh, it's probably because of Adam Gase. And then he goes to the Panthers, and he still sucks. So it's like, okay, now you're on the better team than you were. What's your excuse now? Because Adam Gase isn't there anymore. But a great pickup by the Giants. I'm very glad. Hopefully they can kind of make things up for what they did, and hey, let's face it. I mean, Schoen and Dable can't be any worse than Gettleman and Joe Judge, really.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to your point about with Daniel Jones, all right. I think Daniel Jones comes back next year. The O-line has been absolutely terrible since he's been there. He's been in he had two different coaches. Both have not been good at all. And Pat Shermer and Joe Judge, the front office has been completely incompetent. But this is it. Like, dude, you got an incredible offensive play caller in Brian Daboll now. You got the coach. We'll see what Joe Schoen and the Giants do when it comes to improving the offensive line and maybe the weapons. Weapons on paper looked pretty good last year. Then Kenny Galladay went out. They paid him all that money. He didn't have a single touchdown. Shepard, didn't have a very good year. He had some injuries. Darius Slayton didn't have a good year. Kadarius Toney couldn't stay on the field. Evan Engram is just a horrible football player. And so we'll see if they add anything there. But yeah, this is make or break for Daniel Jones.
Maybe Jake Frum's the one. Jake Frum's the guy. Mike Glennon's the guy. Here you go. Also, another thing, I loved it with some of these Giants fans where they were saying, oh, Kenny Galladay is going to be great. Who's going to tell them? Who's going to tell them that they just did not play well at all? They did not play well.
Oh, just not breaking news. You actually had the same amount of touchdown catches as Kenny Galladay did last year.
Oh, nice. So I have 10. He has 0. I actually have more. I probably have more somewhere out there. I'm an esports player, and I'm on the same skill level as Kenny Galladay in football. That's an honor. That's really something. But anyway, now let's move to a more serious topic, because we're talking about Brian Daboll. Let's move on over to the other Brian that's big in it, Brian Flores, former coach of the Miami Dolphins. you want to explain what's going on there and your reaction of it?
Yes. Okay. So for those who did not hear, which probably get very few of you, because this is a bombshell report that Brian Flores, the former Miami Dolphins coach, was controversially fired after last season because he had some disagreements with some players and coaches and executives. Despite him doing a pretty good job in his 3 years there, considering the circumstances, he is suing the NFL and more specifically the Miami Dolphins, the Denver Broncos, and the New York Giants for supposedly the the hiring practice that they used when they were looking to hire him, and like in the Dolphins case, they did hire him. Supposedly they discriminated against him because he comes the color of his skin. Supposedly, the New York Giants, when they interviewed him, already knew that they were going to hire Brian Daboll. So supposedly, they were only interviewing him to comply with the Rooney Rule, which is you must hire two coaches. You must interview two head coaches of color when you're looking for a new head coach. It also applies to GMs. And I think you have to do one when you look for a new coordinator. Supposedly, according to Brian Flores, the Denver Broncos, in 2019, they interviewed him for their head coach opening before they hired Vic Fangio. Supposedly, they held a sham interview, as Flores called it. Supposedly, they showed up. By they, I mean GM at the time, John Elway, and the CEO, Joe Ellis, showed up an hour late and disheveled. Disheveled meaning like they showed up, under the influence of alcohol. So there's that. If that's true, it's very, very unprofessional. Supposedly, while he was with the Miami Dolphins, in 2019, owner Stephen Ross supposedly offered him $100,000 to lose games, to purposely tank, which is illegal. Flores denied that. Denied that. So also, supposedly, during the offseason when Tom Brady was a free agent, Ross wanted Flores to meet Tom Brady on a yacht and tried to sign him as a free agent, which would have violated the league's tampering rules, which can result in heavy fines and possibly loss of draft picks. Flores refused to do that as well. And Flores thinks that's the reason that he ended up getting fired. So, big report. Obviously, the NFL is to deny any wrongdoing, as has Stephen Ross, as have the Broncos, including John Elway. And that being said, a couple of other coaches have come out and said, they've had similar experiences. Marvin Lewis went on, it was either First Take or Get Up. I think it might have been First Take. He said in 2002, before he was hired by the Bengals, he interviewed for the Panthers, and they interviewed him even though they had already knew they were going to hire John Fox, a white coach, as head coach. Hugh Jackson, the horrendous coach for the Raiders and Browns, said that the Browns, paid him to tank his first 2 years there. They won one game those first 2 years. Terrell Austin, former defensive coordinator for the Lions, now works with the Steelers. He interviewed for the head coach before they hired Matt Patricia. Supposedly, they knew they were hiring Patricia before they even interviewed him. So our coaches are now speaking out and saying, yeah, same thing has happened to me. I think Hugh Jackson is going to actually join Flores in the lawsuit. So, Justin, what do you think about all this?
It's a lot. That's the first thing. It's a lot. I'm just going to take a few things that are like really, really big here. First things first. This about like the racism part of it unfortunately does not surprise me. And you know why? Because I might get censored for this. Roger Goodell is an asshole. He said, what is it, like 2 years ago, that if you hire like an African-American assistant coach, you'll get a third-round pick? Like, why do you need to do that? Like that's just you clearly need to do it because something in your league, there's a level of racism in your league involving coaches. There just is. So here's the thing. I believe him. I believe Brian Flores. It wouldn't surprise me if this was true. But another big one was the thing about, if he loses, he'll get $100,000. If that is found out to be true through investigation, this could be detrimental to the NFL, because you can then ask, well, if one person did that, then that means all the other games are fixed. That could be it. So now all the other teams, all 31 other teams, are going to end up probably getting investigated if this comes out to be true. And we could potentially live in a world to where all the games to where a majority of the games we've been seeing have been fixed, and we've never even known, and we've never even known it. And that would stink. One thing though that does screw over Flores is this incident though about the $100,000, because you must have known about it. You sure? And if you did, like, I know he denied it, but if you did find out you did know about it, you might not get, you're definitely not going to get in trouble for the racism aspect of it if that comes out to be true, that he was discriminated against. But you will also be in trouble if they found out you were taking money. You were basically throwing some games for money.
According to Flores, he denied the money. He refused to take money to lose games. That being said, that's according to him. Is that true? We shall see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's found to be true, he's also going to be in trouble. He's not only going to be a victim in the discrimination sense, he's also going to be a culprit as well. So he's probably going to have to go to court for two different things. He's going to have to go over to the civil court to explain what happened with the discrimination, which I believe happened. Unfortunately, I do believe it happened, which is just a shame. And then he's going to have to go to court again to say why the hell did you take $100,000 worth of money for losing every game? It's really interesting. There's a lot of different parts here. I think it's going to be a shit show.
I do as well. This is a bombshell report. This is not going away. And like you said, if he was being paid to lose games, how many other coaches were? I mean, the Browns went 1-31 in 2 years. Hugh Jackson just said that. Like I mentioned before, Hugh Jackson said, the same thing happened to him. How much longer until other coaches come out? And going back to the discrimination part of it, like the NFL probably has at least 60% black players. Right now, there is one head coach. 1 out of 32 teams have a head coach that is black. Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? And 3 of color. Ron Rivera in Washington is Hispanic. Robert Saleh of the Jets is Muslim. So 1 head coach in the NFL is black. 3 are colored. 32 teams. Only 7 GMs out of 30 teams are of color. In a league where the players are probably at least 60% black, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And for years, it's clear that like coaches of color have not gotten the same opportunities. Unfortunately, that's why they have to put in the Rooney Rule. That's why a couple of years ago they had to edit it. They had to make it 2 coaches and GMs you got to interview, and they expanded it to coordinators as well. That's like you said, Justin. That's why Roger Goodell had to offer draft compensation if you hired a coach of color, because it's clearly a problem, and there always has been a problem. And it's gotten worse. You look a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, you had like 8 head coaches get fired, and 7 of them were black. And you look, the Detroit Lions, Jim Caldwell was 8 games over 500 that he was in 4 years for the Lions. Something like I don't think any coach has ever done with the Lions. They fired him to bring in Matt Patricia, who one was a white guy who was a train wreck. Dan Campbell's in the early stages. Of course, he'll get some time, but he hasn't exactly lit the world on fire in his first year there. It just doesn't add up. So the NFL definitely needs to continue to look at the Rooney Rule. They gotta find a way to get these guys more opportunities, and it's gonna be interesting to see where this lawsuit goes.
I want to wish Brian Flores good luck with this though, because he even admitted this could cost his career, and hopefully, and maybe that's going to have to be what it might take to end up getting some social justice and some African American respect in the NFL in the coaching situation. Of course, I really hope he wins. I'm rooting for him. Anyway, let's move over to DC, Washington DC. The Washington football team, previously known as the Washington Redskins, 2 years ago, they pulled their name and they became the Washington football team for 2 years. Finally, on Wednesday, gave the name, which is now the Washington Commanders. So, Jake, I think you and I are the only ones that have a certain opinion on this, different opinion on this. But what do you think about the whole change?
I thought it was a decent name. It's nothing that's going to be considered offensive, which of course was the reason for why I changed the previous name. For a year, people said, "Yeah, I change it." People are offended by it. Dan Sal, the owner, said, "No, no, no," until the sponsor said, "Well, if you don't change it, I'm not giving you money to build a new stadium." It has to be seen. Their stadium is falling apart, as we've seen many times, and so eventually he was basically forced to change the name, which shows how much of a terrible person Dan Snyder is. Of course, there's other stuff going on about him. Anyway, I thought it was a decent name. I thought they could have done better based off some of the names that I heard. Maybe something like the Hogs. That was the name of those great offensive line. Maybe the Generals, the Presidents, maybe even the Admirals. There was some other I thought they could have went with, but I think Commander, it's decent. It's nothing super flashy. If you were to rank the team names of the NFL 1 through 32, they wouldn't be towards the top. They would be definitely more towards the middle of the pack. But I mean, I'm sure someone who is a Washington Commanders fan might have a much stronger opinion than you and I have, is because we don't follow them whatsoever. They're not even in the same conference as our teams. They're completely the other side of the country. So but that being said, my opinion, I think it's a decent name. Maybe it could have been a little better, but it's I don't have a problem with it. I thought the name was decent.
Oh boy, I have a very strong opinion about this. Yeah, no, fine. I'll deal with the controversy later. I thought it was lazy. And the reason why is this. You had 2 years to pick a name, to change your colors even, to make a logo, and you didn't. You changed your name to the Commanders, which in my opinion, it's like, that's the best you've got. Like, personally, I think of this. If we're looking about it in, like, it's almost equivalent to the Pittsburgh Steelers, to where they're the Steel City. That's why it works. But that's why I was thinking that they would do with Washington, because you are in Washington, D.C. You are in the capital of America, where the White House is, Capitol Building, Lincoln Memorial, Washington Memorial. You are, it's all patriotic there. Nothing says America more than Washington, D.C., in my opinion, because that's where the president lives, where House of Representatives, the Senate, all of them. And you're telling me the best name you could have thought of was the Commanders? Presidents, founding fathers, generals, even. You could have called them something so much more patriotic than that. I know you couldn't take the Patriots, but still. I just think it was lazy to just say call Commander. Honestly, it sounds like an XFL team. That's what the name sounds like. It sounds like XFL.
Speaking of the XFL, actually, I saw something online earlier that debunked the AAF league, like the American of Alliance Football. One of the team's name was the San Antonio Commanders. So technically, if the AAF were to restart, that could be a problem. We'll see.
Of course it would have been a problem. Yeah, I heard that today. Yeah, I did see that, which just makes it even worse. And then I take back what I said about the colors. Keep the colors, that's fine. But the logo, dude. Like, I know it takes a while to get a logo approved, but you had 2 years to make a logo. And all you're telling me is that your logo now, for what seems to be indefinitely, is just a red W. I am sitting here in my chair, and I am putting in more effort talking about this than they did on that logo. And in some instances, they could be like, "Oh, Justin, you could do better." To answer your question, yes, I do. I do think I can do better. I think I can. I think I can make a much better logo than just a red W that looks like it was that you know looks like it was made out of ribbon on a present, because that's what it looks like. It looks like ribbon.
Yeah,
Jeez, man.
I was not a fan of the logo. I thought like they literally took their plain logo that they had the last 2 years because they had to change the logo as well because the logo was also considered offensive and just made it look basic. Put it in 3D, basically. Like it, I was not a fan of the logo myself.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, I'm gonna get Ajita for talking about this. You know, so let's move on to the AFC Championship. It was Bengals Chiefs, and the Bengals won in overtime with a walk-off field goal by Evan McPherson. Jake, what was your reaction to the game?
What a game. I was shocked. That was a big upset. The Kansas City Chiefs, the two-time defending AFC champions, not going back to the Super Bowl. Mahomes is out. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, what a run they've had down the stretch to get hot down the stretch, playing the AFC North, win double-digit games. You know, you knock off the Raiders in the first round. You knock out the two best teams in the AFC. The Tennessee Titans with a healthy Derrick Henry, not 100%, but still you had the hat. They got him back. You knock off the mighty Chiefs, and now they play the Rams in the Super Bowl. What a game that was! Evan McPherson, this guy's probably a top 5 kicker in the league right now. He in his rookie year, what a leg he has. Kudos to the Bengals defense. Their defense has been really good this year, and in the playoffs, they have been fantastic. They were great against the Raiders, against the Titans with Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown. They played really well. They limited Derrick Henry. Second half against the Chiefs, they clamped down on the Chiefs. That was one of the most impressive defensive adjustments that I've ever seen in a football game. Kudos to them. Kudos to Jamar Chase. Kudos to Joe Burrow, who's an absolute stud. Joe Shacey, Joe Burr, as people have been calling him. Just what a team this is. They can't be stopped right now. Super Bowl's going to be great.
Yeah, I was rooting for the Chiefs on that one. I like both quarterbacks, but I wanted the Chiefs to win because I wanted to rub it in because I just like Mahomes. I want to see him win. Because he's a good guy. His brother and his wife are just detrimental. I think he just wants to be out of that house as much as he can. So I think that's also why I want to see him go to the Super Bowl. But I was so frustrated with the Chiefs that game. And I know everyone's like on Twitter, oh, Patrick Machoke, oh, he needs to win a real ring and everything. Stop talking. Stop talking. If they actually watched 60 minutes of that game, they would have seen that once again, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce stopped Patrick Mahomes from winning something. They can't catch. They cannot catch in the playoffs, dude. The only reason why the Bengals won that game is because Patrick Mahomes threw a perfect pass to Tyreek Hill and he smacks it up like it's volleyball and it gets picked off. Everyone's like, oh, Patrick Mahomes got picked off. Patrick Mahomes got picked off. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. He got picked off. Oh my god, this is huge, this is huge. It's like, no. Tyreek Hill got picked off. Tyreek Hill got the ball picked off. Not him. I can't. I need Tyreek Hill to stop putting melted butter on his gloves every single time the postseason comes. He just, like I said, he just can't catch. And he did it in the Super Bowl last year. He did it in the Super Bowl. He did it in the Super Bowl the year before, and surprisingly they won that game because you know, whenever the Niners are up by 10, they always lose. It was just like, kudos to Joe Burrow, kudos to Jamar Chase, Evan McPherson, those guys who came in. Really, they put on a show. I was definitely impressed with them, but the Chiefs, dude, like that defense could not bring Joe Burrow down. I remember there was a play to where you know they're like three defenders on Joe Burrow trying to sack him. He gets out of it and runs for a first down. How? They need to start that defense from like the ground up. That defense stinks. Yeah, you could keep Tyrann Mathieu, but he can't be the only guy anymore. As for the NFC Championship, the Los Angeles Rams are going to the Super Bowl after beating the 49ers. Jake, what'd you think of that game?
Another incredible game. Last two playoff rounds, division round, and conference championship had been excellent. Games have been fantastic. You know, Rams won 2017. You know, fantastic run by the 49ers, but in the end, it was Jimmy Garoppolo who just ran him out of the playoffs. His last pass ever was a 49er. Looks like he's going to be getting traded this offseason with Trey Lance in the wings. Was the most hilarious interception I've ever seen. I don't know what he was trying to do there, but whatever he tried to do, it did not work at all. Ended up a really easy interception for the Los Angeles Rams. Another blown 10-point lead by Kyle Shanahan. Rams played great. The defense there played great. They got pressure on Garoppolo all day. You know, they were able to run the football decently. Cooper Kupp, what a year he's had. He should probably be Offensive Player of the Year. He was the best receiver in the NFL this year. Rams got a great team. I picked them at the beginning of the year to win the Super Bowl. That was before they got Von Miller and the Odell Beckham Jr. And they're going to be a tough out. It's going to be a great Super Bowl.
Oh, God. This game. I just... Jimmy Garoppolo has to be one of the most overrated quarterbacks I've ever seen. The thing is that I could then argue with you. You could argue that pick with Jimmy Garoppolo was mostly his receiver's fault, just like with Patrick Mahomes was mostly Tyreek Hill's fault. No. Jimmy Garoppolo was getting pressured and tries to throw it away and ends up getting tipped and then picked off. He did like this freaking crossbody, like almost like a shovel pass thing. Like, it just doesn't look good. But the thing is, he played bad all playoffs long. He didn't look that great in the Cowboys game, but ironically, I thought that was his best showing. The Packers game, he had 0 passing yards in the first quarter. How do you go 15 minutes as a quote unquote superstar quarterback, or some kind of big time quarterback as some people think? How do you go 0? How do you throw 0 yards in 15 minutes? Come on, it was the special teams that deadlifted that team to upset the Packers. And then this game is where the Rams finally punished Jimmy Garoppolo for not being good at football. They just do. And a great job with the Rams. I wanted to see Matthew Stafford win, because this is like what his third ever playoff win ever. I think people are now realizing it wasn't Stafford, it was Detroit. And then you have Cooper Kupp, who's looking great. He was the best wide receiver this year, as you said. Sony Michel looked great. Even the defense, Aaron Donald, Von Miller looked great. I even have to say on the offense, I even have to say Odell looked pretty good. When he was doing, some short yard passes, Odell was always there for them. And it was and I think he looked quite good as well. Probably not very close to Giants prime like he was before, but he certainly looked much better than he did on the Browns. So good for him as well. Now here's the be all end all question here. Let me first ask you this, Jake, real quick. 17 weeks ago, about 20 weeks ago, I'd say, would you have ever thought that the Bengals would be battling it out for the Lombardi Trophy? No.
Absolutely not. I thought they'd be last place in their division. I didn't think they were that good.
Yeah. So who do you have for Super Bowl 56? It is Rams versus Bengals. Los Angeles Rams, Cincinnati Bengals in SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Who takes it home?
I think it'll be an incredible game. I think it's going to be a really close game. But I'm going to take the Rams in a squeaker. I know Joe Burrow doesn't lose big games. The Bengals are hot. But the Rams got Matthew Stafford, who's I think the top 7 quarterback in the NFL. He's finally got the attention now, and now that he's playing on a contender team. Los Angeles, not a dumpster fire in Detroit. He's got a really good run game. He's got incredible weapons, starting the best receiver in the NFL, and probably after the player of the year, Cooper Kupp. You got a fantastic defense. You got an incredible pass rush with Von Miller and Aaron Donald. When Jalen Ramsey decides to wake up and not scream at Aaron Donald for him blowing the coverage, he is a great corner. He struggles at times. He hasn't looked great this postseason, in my opinion, but he is a great player. They got a really good team. Sean McVay is a great coach. They got Bengals are a very young team. Rams got a lot more playoff experience playing in their home stadium. I know, you had issue with the fan. 49ers fans looked like there were more of them at the stadium than there were Rams fans. That being said, that's a little bit understandable because the 49ers and Rams are rivals. They play in the same state. The states aren't that far from each other. Cincinnati, Ohio is a long ways away from Los Angeles, California. So I think the hometown crowd will be much more of a factor and much more of an advantage than it was this last weekend. I think that'll help the Rams as well. So I'm going to take the Rams in a close game.
As you've said, this is going to be a great game. But I said that last time about Chiefs 49ers. So I'm not so sure anymore. I think the only thing that the Rams have a slight edge over the Bengals is the Bengals' lack of an O-line. Here's the thing: you could have probably gotten away with Ryan Tannehill with the Titans defense, who was good but not great. When they sacked him 9 times, they got away with that. You might have gone away with the Chiefs just having terrible defense, but I don't think Joe Burrow is going to get away with as much of the stuff that he has with Aaron Donald and Von Miller on his tail. I think they'll just be able to get inside for free. Not even a shoe card, not even a coupon, not even a counterfeit stat card. They will just be allowed to cut through that offensive line like it's nothing. But then again, the Bengals have a wide receiver named Jamar Chase. They have Joe Mixon. They have Joe Burrow, and I'm a little bit worried that Jamar Chase might just torch Jalen Ramsey on a lot of passes until he looks like burnt popcorn. He's gonna be freaking toast. He's gonna be torched, that guy. Now also on that Rams offense, the only thing that will take that I think is going to make them win is 2 words: Sony Michel. if I see Cam Akers on that field, I do not trust him after playing against the Buccaneers when he fumbled like 2 times, and he right there was the reason why the Buccaneers were able to tie that game. If they just gave it to Sony Michel, they would have blown them out. But the other thing is Matthew Stafford in this game, the real underdog of this Super Bowl is Matthew Stafford. It's not the Bengals. Yeah, the Bengals may have not been good, and Joe Burrow finally had them win a game like for the first playoff game for the first time in 30 years. But the real underdog is the Rams. Is strictly Matthew Stafford. And if Matthew Stafford does not win, nobody will ever let him let it down. Ever. And because he has been such a good quarterback on Detroit, and he's looked even better on the Rams. So I'm going to take, because Joe Burrow has his entire career to get a ring. His career is just beginning. I'm sure he will probably end his career with certainly more than 1 ring. Matthew Stafford, he's in like his 13th season. He's kind of coming closer to the end. And he has more to lose if he loses this game. So with that being said, I am going with the Los Angeles Rams as well with my pick, but I think this game goes to overtime. I think this game might just end off in a walk-off field goal by Matt Gay. Anyway, now time for our next segment. You hate to see it. Yeah. All right, I don't need to explain the rules. You know how it goes. I know how it goes. For listeners that are just looking at it for the first time, we have some very funny, strange plays or stories out there that we got related to sports, of course, and we need to rate 1 out of 10 how much we hate to see it. 1, not a big deal. 10, it's like, oh god, I really, I'm speechless. I hate to see this. Jake, get us started.
All right, so here we go. I'm going to share my screen. First off, I'm sure everyone knows this video of new LSU head coach Brian Kelly dancing, very cringily dancing with a guy who they were bringing in for a recruit. They brought this guy in for a recruit. Justin, what if I told you that guy who Brian Kelly was dancing with and the recruiting visit, they weren't signing him, he was just visiting, because he wasn't sure where he was going yet. What if I told you he just committed to Alabama? How much do you have to say the guy the player Brian Kelly danced with, a big time recruit, did all that just to sign up Alabama?
That's probably why. I'll give that a 10. That's probably why. I don't even think he wanted that. He looked so uninterested in being part of this. He's like, bro, dude, can you just leave? Like, why the hell are you just dancing in front of me? It's so bad. It's so bad. Like, it's not even the dancing that's that bad. If he was dancing at a party, I could understand. But he's like dancing, like his back's touching the other guy, like the guy. He's probably really uncomfortable. He's like, get me out of here. I need an adult. I need somebody. And that's probably why he's going to he's going to be playing for Saban. 10 out of 10. Hate to say it.
That's a 10 out of 10 for me. First of all, Brian Kelly, stop dancing. Stop dancing. Do not ever dance again. Please. Whatever. That wasn't even dancing. Whatever you called what you were doing, however you were moving your body, don't do it ever again. 10 out of 10. I hate to see it. That's embarrassing. You create a meme dancing with this guy, and you go see your arch rival, who of course is a powerhouse in Alabama. That's really, really embarrassing. 10 out of 10, you hate to see it. All right. Now, how he said Jimmy Garoppolo had a really bad interception on what's probably his last pass as a 49er. That was his last pass up of the game's getting traded. Well, this is the interception. Look at this. He's dropped that, and what in the world? What on earth? Let me show you guys that again. What was he doing? Let's rewind back here. So he's getting sacked. He does like this like he's throwing a frisbee into the Rams defense. And this guy over here just blatantly drops it on 3rd and 13. Doesn't how much we hate to see that.
Show that again. Show that again. I beg. This was exactly what I was talking about. You just like I can't even. How is this guy expected to catch that? I give it a 37 out of 10. Really, like you get sacked, you're gonna lose yardage. I know you're trying to salvage it, but like trying to like throw it away. But don't do this like underhand shot put style pass. This is the Summer Olympics, Jimmy. Doesn't feel so great, baby. Really. Doesn't. You know, this is why you're not going to the Super Bowl and the Rams are. 37 out of 10.
That is a 10 out of 10. You hate to see it from me. What on earth was that? He wouldn't. I know if you take the sack, now you're looking at probably a 4th and 20 something. And if you don't get, and they would have probably had to use their last time out with like a minute and 10 seconds, minute and 15 seconds left. And now you got to get a 20-yard play, get a first down. And now you have, pretty much like another minute to probably go another 30 yards with no timeouts to even get field goal range to send the game to overtime. But I would rather that scenario than giving the Rams the ball, already in the red zone, with a minute left in the game, and you only have one timeout, so the Rams can just run down the clock. Like, anything would have been better than what you did, Jimmy G. 10 out of 10, you hate to see it. That's a nice parting gift to 49ers fans. My guess 49ers fans are not feeling great, baby. They are feeling very bad. Okay, so I'll say the Brian Flores, situation is a very serious note, but Bill Belichick, I know you're almost 70 years old, but he's got to work on his technological skills. So this is his text conversation to Brian Flores. He writes to Brian Flores. This is the screenshot that I guess Brian Flores provided. Sounds like you have landed. Congrats. Flores writes back, did you hear something I didn't hear? Flores, Bill was like, Giants, ? And then Flores says, I have an interview on Thursday. So he has not interviewed for a job yet. I think I have a shot at it. Bill writes back, got it. I hear from Buffalo and New York Giants. You are their guy. I hope it works out for you if you want it. Flores writes back, remember, Flores coached under Belichick for 10 seasons, and he eventually became his defensive coordinator before he went to Miami. He wrote back, that's definitely what I want. I hope you're right, coach. Thank you. Then he's like, wait a minute. Hold up. He says, coach, are you talking to Brian Flores or Brian Daboll? Just making sure. Remember, Brian Daboll also coached under Bill Belichick before he went to Alabama and then to the Buffalo Bills. Then Belichick writes him back, sorry, I effed up. I double-checked and I misread the text. I think they are naming Daboll. I am sorry about that. I am sorry about that, B. I'm sorry about that. Then he writes back, thanks, Bill. Just how much would you hate to see Belichick texting Flores, congratulating him on being hired by the Giants when he hasn't even interviewed for a job, and they are about to name Daboll, not him.
If you told me this was fake, I'd believe it. 10 out of 10. Hate to see it. I can't. There's just nothing more to explain there. Just 10 out of 10. It speaks for itself. I'll say that.
10 out of 10. You hate to see it. This is like the guy thinks he's texting his side chick. And he's like, hey, do you want this for dinner? And then his wife writes back, I'm allergic to that. How do you not know that? And it's like, and then she starts to realize, oh shoot, he didn't mean to text me. 10 out of 10, Bill. Brian Dable and Brian Fogel, two different people, dude. Like, oh God, this is embarrassing. I know he's like 69 or 7 years old, but how is he that bad with the phone and the texting? Oh God. 10 out of 10, you hate to see it. That's all the hate to see it content I have.
Of course, I have some to show. Mine is pretty much basketball related here. I know it's a football special, but we gotta get some basketball into here. First one, LaMelo Ball. 15 seconds left on the clock. 107-111. Celtics are winning. Terry Rozier does the inbound to LaMelo Ball. Launches it. Airmails it. Jake, how much you hate to see it?
10 out of 10, you hate to see it. LaMelo Ball, rookie of the year last year, budding star. I know he had like 38 points this game, but what was that? What on earth is this? Let's take a look again. He like, was this double pump fake? And it's not even close. And you're losing to the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are terrible this year, and you're going to lose to them. And then you just let Robert Williams just dunk for free for no reason. You don't even try to foul him. What are you doing? And he misses again! He missed again! He missed the layup. It wouldn't have mattered, but still. 10 out of 10, the guy literally missed 2 shots and 1 horrendous air ball. You lose to the freaking Celtics. 10 out of 10, I hate to see it.
9 out of 10. Pretty much hate to see it, you know. Nice air ball, you know, nice lose to the Celtics, and then missing the layup. 9 out of 10. Not really hate to say it. Next up, we have another Celtics game. Now, the real thing isn't actually the shot. It's what comes with the shot. So we're actually going to slow this down here. So then you could see. So Jason Tatum goes for the free throw shot. Do you see the towel? He throws the ball, and along with that comes this sweat towel that just lands into somebody's hands by the crowd. Jake, how much you had to say it?
10 out of 10, I hate to see that. I have never seen that. I thought that was a bird. I swear to God, I thought when he first showed me that was a bird. If he just said, "Oh, look at this! Look at what happened in this clip," and didn't give me context, I would have literally said, "Why? How did the bird get into TD Garden?" And I would have looked like a complete moron. Who threw a towel? I don't even care if he's not shooting free throws. You're supposed to be quiet and stuff. Who decided it would be a good idea to throw a towel? Like, who throws a towel? Like that really messed with my eyes. 10 out of 10, I hate to see that. Like, what was that?
10 out of 10, I hate to see it. You know, nice Gatorade plug though across the court. They're like, this free throw is sponsored by Gatorade. All the electrolytes you need. 10 out of 10.
Gatorade's probably thrown. Gatorade's probably looking to sponsor the Celtics at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, here they go. They're already dead set on it. There you go. 10 out of 10. Hate to see it. My final clip is from John Morant to Metros Jamel Morant. Brings up the ball at half. So they're about to reach the half. He cuts inside, goes for the layup, and just dives right into the fans. Oh, they give him a hug. They're in Memphis. You got to give him a hug there. Nice moment. Jake, how much you hate to see it?
Not too much. 3 out of 10. It's kind of a weird look, him just he's like just launching himself into the stands. It looked like he almost was trying to be Superman or something, but he gave the guy a hug. I mean, now the guy for the rest of his life is like, I got a hug from John Moran, who might be in the Hall of Fame one day, the way his career is looking. 3 out of 10. He's become one of my favorite players in the league this year, even though he just dropped off the Knicks the other night. He's a great player. He's now, in my opinion, an MVP front runner. That's a 3 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 because it's just funny to watch anybody dive like that. He did I guess he wanted to be almost like a Michael Phelps or something. Nice, just diving straight into the pool. But like I said, it's nice that I gave the guy a hug afterwards. It's a nice little moment there, really showing love to the fans. I'll tell you this real quick. I used to not like him when he first came into the league. I thought he was a bit of a showboat. I thought he flexed too much. I thought he was too much of a trash talker. I thought he should have stayed humble in the game, or at the beginning of the season. And then COVID happens because it was in the same season. COVID happens, and then they have to go into the bubble to where all these teams have to stay in the hotel, and people are complaining. And he was the one that came out and said, we weren't all born with silver spoons, and basically say, stop complaining about the hotels because it's the best we got, and you should be happy that you at least have one, and that kind of changed my outlook on him. I thought he was just thought he was a jerk, and he really wasn't. So I still feel bad about that for thinking that, but yeah, he's also slowly become one of my favorite players. Absolutely. I mean, this guy's gonna go places. In my opinion, he's my MVP. But funny dive, 5 out of 10. Kind of hate to see it, but now, Jake, it's time for our athletes of the week. Who's your athlete of the week?
My athlete of the week is Joe Burrow, Joe Burr, Joe Shiesty. What a performance he had last week! Incredible game, leading the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Kudos to him. He's going to be a good one.
My athlete of the week. You know what? It's Tom Brady. I will give it to Tom Brady. I might have not liked the guy very much, but I should give credit where credit is due in the sense that he has been one of the most talented quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen. I'm not going to say he's the greatest of all time, but he's definitely a top 3 all-time great. 7 rings, broke every record, played until 44 and still looked good. I don't think this guy's going to be remembered for generations to come, and people are going to look back on the days when they've said, remember Tom Brady? I've never seen anybody bring a league together to hate one guy. The impact he left on the league was both positive and somewhat negative. But the thing was he was just such a big part of the NFL. I mean, if you've been watching because where he got drafted in 2000, he's been here since our entire childhood. You could basically say we grew up with Tom Brady. So I'm gonna have to give him my athlete of the week. Good job for a great career, Tom Brady, and we will see you in Canton, Ohio. But Jake, we still have one more activity that I've planned that I never told you about yet.
Well, what is that?
It's real quick. Let me give some context on something for the audience. Ever since I started living with Jake in the spring semester last year, fall of spring 2021, and I have made something to where, and usually every time when I go home, I go home to see my family, I always make sure that I shave. And the only determination is when I do it. And I have deemed it the Shave Bowl, to where I have to do a challenge on NBA 2K to see what I need to do or what I need to achieve to not shave on a certain date. So let me introduce you to the Shave Bowl. If you can see the screen here at the wheel. We have 5 challenges to do. I have one of 5 challenges. If I do at least one of these, I shave next Wednesday because I'm going home on Thursday. But if I lose one of these on the wheel that we're about to see what I have to do, I have to shave tomorrow. I've been working on this beard since October, people. Since October. Since like middle October. I have not shaved. This thing has been with me since finals. I'm not ready to get rid of it. So, Jake, are you ready to see the options?
Yes, I am.
The challenge is I either have to shoot 3 3-pointers with Ben Simmons, shoot 3 3-pointers with Draymond Green, have a 50-point game with Luke Kennard, shoot a 3-pointer with every center on the Toronto Raptors, or shoot 3 3-pointers with Zion Williamson. One spin. God, don't want to be Ben Simmons. Ladies and gentlemen, for this first ever Shade Bowl, to where the wheel has decided what challenge I do, I need to have a 50-point game with Luke Kennard, only shooting 3-pointers. This is going to be difficult. I might lose a beard. You might see me hairless on the next podcast. But let's what winners, but may the best of the Shave Bowl win. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for this week. Thank you so much for watching our football special. Remember, fill out the guest form if you want to be on site. You can eat Takis on stream. Have a great rest of your week.
Peace out.